All right, so buckle up, listeners, because today we're diving headfirst into the world of smart agriculture. And
Yeah.
it's a really fascinating topic because it sounds so futuristic,
Mm.
but in a lot of ways, it's
Mhm.
already here.
It is, yeah.
So I'm really excited to dig in
Me too.
to this today.
Absolutely.
So to get us started,
Yeah.
maybe you could paint a picture for us
Sure.
of what this world of smart agriculture looks like.
Well, what's fascinating is this tech. It's not some far-off dream. It's really about solving those problems that farmers have had forever.
Right.
Like take pests, for instance.
Always a headache.
Huge headache. I remember battling aphids in my garden, and it felt like a losing battle.
Right.
And that's just a few tomato plants.
Yeah.
Imagine having your livelihood on the line.
Exactly. And, for a while there, the solution was almost like chemical warfare.
Right.
Just nuke it. Chlorprophum, 50HN, Godrej products.
Yeah.
You might recognize the names.
I've seen them. They were effective, sure, but they came with a pretty hefty price tag for the environment and then potentially our health.
Not exactly a sustainable strategy.
Right.
So how did we get from there to this whole smart approach?
Well, it was a little bit of a wake-up call, We realized we can't just nuke the entire ecosystem to get rid of a few pesky bugs.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where Integrated Pest Management, or IPM, came in as a game changer.
Okay.
And that's really more about, you think of it, instead of eradicating every single pest, we're aiming for a more balanced approach.
Okay, so unpack IPM a little bit for us.
Okay.
What's the strategy there?
So it's about using a combination of tools and techniques.
Okay.
Like we're talking natural predators, we're talking crop rotation, even targeted pesticide use. One absolutely necessary.
Okay.
The goal is to keep those populations below a level where it causes significant damage, but without wreaking havoc on everything else.
Right.
And it's really led to some impressive results.
Well, what? Give me some specific.
Okay, so take the cotton industry, for example. They were getting hammered by pests like the cotton leafhopper,
Right.
the spotted bollworm, and Marasca, devastans, and Aries vitella larvae, if you want to get technical.
Wow, those are names I'm glad I don't have to worry about.
Right, but these tiny terrors were causing massive crop losses. But with IPM, farmers have been able to significantly reduce their reliance on harsh chemicals while still protecting their crops. And in some cases, they've even seen yields increase because a healthy ecosystem means healthier plants overall.
Right, so it's all connected.
It's all connected.
That's fantastic. So that's a huge win.
It is.
IPM sets the stage. But where does all of this space-age technology come in? We're talking satellites, we're talking drones, we're talking all these sensors. I'm getting overwhelmed just thinking about it all.
It's a lot to take in, but it all boils down to this. We're talking about seeing the unseen. Right. Imagine being able to look at a field and instantly know where the soil is too dry, maybe where a disease might be starting to spread, or even where pests are congregating before they do any real damage. That's the power of things like remote sensing and GIS.
Okay, hold on a second. GIS, remote sensing.
Yeah.
These sound like something out of a spy movie.
They kind of are, except instead of, tracking secret agents, we're tracking the health of our crops.
Okay.
So remote sensing is all about gathering information from a distance, usually using satellites or aircraft that are equipped with special sensors. And GIS, or Geographic Information Systems, helps us analyze and visualize all that data in a way that makes sense.
Okay, so instead of just seeing a pretty picture of a farm from above, we're getting all this intel about what's happening on the ground.
Exactly.
Okay, so what kind of intel are we talking about?
So for instance, there's this thing called the shortwave infrared band,
okay,
which sounds super technical, but it's actually pretty simple. Certain wavelengths of light, like those in this band, can actually penetrate through the surface and reveal things like moisture levels in the soil.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like an X-ray for your field.
That's wild.
And farmers can then use that information to target irrigation precisely where it's needed, which means they're saving water and optimizing plant growth.
So they can see if the soil is dry.
Exactly.
Before the plants even start to wilt.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So it's like having a superpower.
It is.
But how does this actually work on a practical level?
Right.
Are farmers glued to their computers?
Right.
Analyzing satellite images all day long?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. This is where, smart farming platforms like PharmaNOT come in.
Okay.
So they take all of that raw data from the satellites, the drones, sensors, and turn it into user-friendly insights that farmers can actually use.
So it's not just about having access to data. It's about making that data actionable.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, it's about making it work for them.
So tell me more about PharmaNOT.
Sure.
How does that actually work?
So think of PharmaNOT as like this super-powered farming assistant.
I like that.
So it gathers all that data that we talked about from the satellites and sensors. It analyzes it using AI, and then it gives farmers these personalized recommendations.
So instead of just seeing like a red blob on a map
Right.
that says like, hey, problem area,
Right.
a farmer might actually get an alert
Right, exactly.
that says something like,
Yeah.
hey, this section of your cornfield is showing signs of stress,
Exactly.
probably due to a lack of nitrogen.
You should consider applying a targeted dose of fertilizer in this specific zone.
Okay.
And they can even calculate the optimal amount of fertilizer needed, right? So you're minimizing waste, you're maximizing efficiency.
Okay.
But it's not just about fertilizer.
Right.
It can help with irrigation scheduling,
Wow.
pest control, even predicting yield based on current conditions.
So it really is like having
And historical
a
data.
crystal ball for your farm.
It is. Yeah, it's like a crystal ball.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about drones for a sec, because I know they're being used more and more in agriculture.
Yeah.
Where do they fit in
Right.
to this whole smart farming ecosystem?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Are they competing with satellites? Are they working together? What's going on there?
It's more of a tag team effort,
Okay.
right? So satellites are going to give you that really broad overview. Drones provide a closer look.
Okay.
So let's say you get an alert from PharmaNOT. Hey, this particular section of your orchard is showing signs of disease. You can then deploy a drone equipped with high-resolution cameras and sensors to get a much more detailed picture.
So it's like a second opinion from a specialist,
Exactly.
but the specialist is a flying robot.
Exactly.
What can you do with that data then?
A lot, actually.
Okay.
So you can equip these drones with special sensors that can identify things like nutrient deficiencies, pest infestations, or even just individual plants that are struggling.
Yeah.
And then this allows the farmers to take really targeted action, whether that's applying a precise dose of pesticide to a few plants,
Okay.
or, giving some extra TLC to a tree that's not looking its best.
Wow. So we're talking about personalized plant care.
That's it. Personalized plant care.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff.
So let's zoom out for a second, talk about the big picture.
Oh.
Because we keep saying all these buzzwords, right?
Right.
Efficiency, sustainability.
Right.
But what does this all mean for the average person?
Yeah.
Are we talking like cheaper groceries, healthier food, like a healthier planet?
It's all of the above.
Give me the good stuff.
Yeah, this is the good stuff, right? So smart agriculture really has the potential to revolutionize our entire food system, like from farm to fork.
Right.
And by using resources more efficiently, we can reduce waste, we can minimize our environmental impact, and ultimately make food more affordable and accessible for everybody.
Okay, so I'm seeing dollar signs and a greener planet.
Exactly.
I love it. But what about those of us who aren't farmers?
Sure.
How does all this tech impact the food we actually eat?
So let's talk about something called NDVI, or the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index.
Okay, there we go.
But don't let the name scare you.
NDVI.
NDVI, exactly.
Got it.
It's basically a measure of plant health that can be determined from those satellite images we were talking about.
So higher NDVI, healthier plants, healthier food for us.
Exactly. Yeah, think of it as like a health score for your crops, visible from space.
Right.
By monitoring NDVI, farmers can get those early warnings about potential problems, disease, pests, nutrient deficiencies,
Right.
and then take action before those problems impact the quality or the quantity of their crops.
Okay.
And healthier crops mean more nutritious food for everyone.
So it's not just about increasing the amount of food.
Exactly.
It's about increasing the quality
That's exactly it.
of the food.
Yeah.
I like where this is going.
Yeah.
What about the environmental impact, though? Because I know agriculture is a huge contributor
Right.
to things like water pollution, greenhouse gases. Can smart farming really make a difference?
Absolutely.
Okay.
By using things like precision irrigation, targeted fertilizer application, we significantly reduce the amount of water and chemicals that end up polluting our waterways.
Okay.
And by optimizing things like planting schedules and crop varieties,
Right.
we can even increase carbon sequestration, essentially turning farms into carbon sinks that help combat climate change.
Okay, so turning farms from polluters to climate heroes.
Exactly.
I love it.
It's a pretty cool concept, yeah.
I'm curious about one thing, though.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about the tech itself.
Right.
What about the human element?
Right.
Are we going to have robot farmers replacing humans in the future?
Not at all.
Okay.
While technology is definitely changing the how of farming,
Okay.
that human touch will always be essential.
Right.
Farmers are problem solvers. They're innovators.
Right.
They're stewards of the land. Smart agriculture just gives them the tools and the information they need to do what they do best.
Right.
But even better.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it's not about replacing farmers with robots.
Right.
It's about giving farmers superpowers.
Exactly.
Let's be honest, though.
Sure.
All this tech has got to come with a pretty hefty price tag.
Yeah.
Is this just for mega corporations with deep pockets?
Right.
Or can your average farmer actually afford to get on board with this?
That's the thing. It's not just for the big guys anymore.
Okay.
The cost of this technology has actually been coming down significantly,
Right.
which makes it more accessible to even smaller farms.
Okay.
And, plus think of it as an investment. Right.
Right, because you're not just buying like a fancy tractor.
Exactly.
You're buying data that can help make you
Exactly.
smarter decisions.
Exactly. Smarter decisions that could save you money in the long run.
Save money, increase your profits, all that good stuff.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And some companies even offer subscription-based services.
Oh.
So farmers can access the technology and the support they need without, breaking the bank.
So it's becoming more and more
Right.
like other software as a service industries
Exactly.
we see popping up.
Yeah, exactly.
So it sounds like the future of farming is less about, giant corporations taking over and more about empowering farmers at all levels to be more efficient, more sustainable,
Love it.
and ultimately more successful.
Exactly.
Which I think is a really
Yeah.
positive takeaway here.
It is, yeah.
So you've got me thinking.
Yeah.
If this is just the beginning, what does the future hold?
Well, get ready for this. Imagine, vertical farms,
Okay.
these towering structures in the middle of urban areas,
Wow.
growing fresh produce year-round, using minimal water, zero pesticides.
Okay.
Picture robots working alongside humans.
Hold on, robot farmhands?
I know, right? Tending to crops with laser precision, identifying and removing weeds before they even sprout.
See, I could get used to
Right.
having my lettuce grown, like down the street.
Exactly.
Maybe even delivered by a drone.
Delivered by a drone, exactly.
Like, why not?
Right. And it's not just about convenience.
Right.
By bringing that food production closer to consumers, we reduce transportation costs.
Okay.
We minimize waste from spoilage.
Right.
We can create these more resilient local food systems.
So instead of our food traveling thousands of miles to get to our plates,
Exactly.
it can be grown just a few blocks away.
Right in your backyard.
I love it.
Exactly.
What about the food itself, though?
Yeah.
Are we sacrificing flavor for efficiency?
That's a great question.
Are we all going to be eating like bland, mass-produced vegetables?
Quite the opposite, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Smart agriculture can actually help us grow tastier, more nutritious food.
Okay.
Imagine a world where, your strawberries taste like actual strawberries.
Okay. Now you're speaking my language.
Right.
Because I think we've gotten so used to
Yeah, like the cardboard. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How does that work? So with the sensors and all the data analysis, farmers can actually monitor those nutrient levels in the soil. Make sure that each plant is getting exactly what it needs when it needs it to thrive.
So it's like giving each plant a personalized
Yes.
diet and workout plan.
Exactly.
Instead of six-pack abs, we get
You got it.
delicious,
There it is.
nutrient-rich food.
Exactly, you got it.
Okay, I am so on board with
It's
this.
exciting stuff.
It is exciting stuff.
And it's not just happening in some, far-off future. It's
Right.
happening right now.
That's what we keep saying.
Companies like PharmaNOT are, leading the charge, but they're not alone.
Right.
There's a whole ecosystem of startups and innovators that are developing these cutting-edge technologies.
It really feels like we're on the cusp of something
We are, yeah.
huge.
It's a really exciting time.
So to wrap things up,
Yeah.
what is one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember from this deep dive?
That the future of farming is here.
Okay.
And it's smarter, it's more sustainable, and it's more delicious than ever before.
I love it. I couldn't have said it better myself.
There you go.
So to all of our listeners out there,
Yeah.
the next time you bite into a juicy strawberry or a perfectly ripe tomato, take a moment to appreciate
I love it.
the incredible technology and innovation
Absolutely.
that made it possible.
It's amazing.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep exploring, keep learning,
Keep eating.
and keep diving deep.